All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to kind of direct this title blowing away. And I kind of want it to blow away starting from the top and just kind of swirl around and then die down and fall down to the ground. So I'm going to select our title and I'm going to go into the effects tab here. Now I'm going to go into fields and solvers, and I'm going to create a volume axis field. And this volume axis field, I'm going to create a cylinder. So under volume shape, let's go to cylinder. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to animate this cylinder over the course of a couple seconds from the top down through the bottom of our title. So let's just get it roughly to size here. I want to toss it out in the area here. Maybe let's just make this scale of 60. And so I want to key this from the top of our animation and after 50 frames I'm going to key it down through the ground here. Let's key that there. And just to make sure that we're not evaluating any of the volume axis, I'm going to key the magnitude off. So we'll keep it at 5 here, and then 51. Let's just key it off to 0, just to make sure that we're not, if any bits fall in there or anything, we're not going to toss it around. So now let's just go back up here, and let's just take a look at our front camera. Now if we go to our nucleus, we'll notice if we just took the wind speed down to 0 and the gravity down to 0, so it doesn't have any gravity or wind or anything, and if we just click play, we'll notice that we've already got some movement on the ground here, and that's because our title is actually slightly below our ground plane that we are using. So it's actually colliding with that already. So I'm just going to move all of this up until it's just above the ground plane there. So now if we click play, there'll be no movement until the volume axis field hits it. And let's make sure to turn the wind noise down. There we go. So now you can see there's no movement going on whatsoever down here. Okay, so we're going to toss this up and away. So now let's just go into our volume axis field and let's set some parameters here. I don't want to throw it away from the axis, but I actually do kind of want to have it to spin around the torus here. So we could start with an around weight of 5. I kind of want to blow it away, and then we're actually going to play this in reverse so it'll seem like the whole thing is coming together. And let's do a turbulence of 1. And now let's just take a play blast of this. Okay, so I stopped our play blast halfway through, and it breaks apart nicely from the top to bottom. So it's pretty simple, and that's more or less what I'm looking for, although I think I'm going to increase the frequency of the turbulence a little bit. And I want to key on the gravity actually, because I want this all to fall down on the ground. So I'm going to go first into our gravity, and let's just say about 1.5 seconds in, we're going to have the gravity at 0, and then at frame after, we're going to key the gravity on. And I know that a gravity of regular at 9.8 isn't going to be enough, because I want this all to settle to the ground quite quickly, and I don't want it to be like leaves, because I want the whole animation to maybe be 4 seconds of that. So I'm just going to have the gravity, let's try 50. And in our volume axis field, let's throw down a little bit more. Let's have it around the axis of a weight of 10. And I'm going to increase, let's just do the turbulence at 2, and the frequency. I want there to be more frequency, double the frequency, so it's cracking apart a little bit more. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's take a play blast of this. Alright, so now here's our play blast, and it's looking like a little bit more noisy with the turbulence. It whips it around a bit more. Although it drops really quickly, you can see that we kind of did key on the gravity. So all I want to do is to kind of fade on the gravity and not just key it on in one frame. So let's go to our nucleus, and I'm going to right click and let's select the output, and I'm going to make the gravity come on from 0 to 50 in about 15 frames. So essentially we're fading on the gravity, so this will create a lot more of a just smoother transition for when the gravity kicks in. And also I want to make sure to have enough frames so the rest of our bits here are definitely going to fall to the ground. And so that's pretty much it. I liked how the rest of it looked. So the last thing I want to do, I'm going to go in, and since this is so fast, I'm going to enable the self collisions. So that'll add a little bit of interest as well. And I'm going to go ahead and cache this out. So let's go into our encloth here. Let's go to encache, create new cache, and object. Let's select the options here. And I'm just going to select one file, and pretty standard. Let's just create this. Alright, so our sim's done here, and that took about half an hour as opposed to just a couple of minutes with the collisions. The self collide turned on, but you can see that we're getting some pretty interesting kind of tearing effect going on, and they're all colliding nicely, and it all kicks out and it dies down a bit more soft than when the gravity just kind of kicked on. So there we go. So I'm going to throw this cache into reverse. So I'm going to go up into the encloth cache shape, and all we need to do is select reverse here. So now, if we play this forward, we've got this effect where everything comes together and forms our title. So there we go. So in the next clip, we're going to go ahead and let's start setting up our pixie dust.